Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Podcast Room 303. Introducing one co-host with more nuggets than Chick-fil-A, Nick Morahan. Executive producer until we find someone better, Eric Washington. Nobody really knows what he does around here, Nevada Putnam. And now, the single greatest thing to happen to hosting in history, Jermaine Antonio Colon Mendez. On with the show. Ooh-wee! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Podcast Room 303, episode 221. On today's episode, we'll be getting into the executive producer-led Blind Five, the NBA Northwest Division Futures, and the NHL Atlantic Division Futures. Why did I struggle on that? Sounded like I said Kelly Olynyk.
Atlantic.
How are you doing this evening, Nick?
I'm good, dude. It's spooky season.
I know. I'm so excited. I love this month. It's so much fun. Everyone dresses in costumes, has a good time. And I don't know what I'm going to be this year, but I want to do something cool.
I'm buying my Joe Burrow jersey so I can be Dan Marino for Halloween.
How you doing this evening, Eric?
Doing good. Haven't done my avocado uniform or costume I've always wanted to do, so I might try to do that this year.
Bruh, that's funny. Just the
old
school, but that
green and just paint my belly brown like the seed.
Oh, it's gonna be cardboard.
Or whatever they have, like whatever I can find. Like,
hey, that sounds cool too. I mean, it's probably cheaper to just go find a box somewhere.
You should also paint your face brown too.
Don't do it, bro. Not in today's climate.
I might do like little black spots everywhere. Like, you know how some avocados, you cut them open, they got that little gray black thing. I might do a little bit of that, but other than that,
yeah,
I'm not going.
That's what I'm saying. Paint your face brown so it's like the brown spot right above the pit.
I'm not doing blackface.
That's not blackface, dude.
I'm not doing blackface.
Bro, I was watching the good Lord, I forgot the Book of Mormon. And they have the African tribe in Nigeria does whiteface. Does whiteface. And I was like, how come we ain't canceling that? Not that I want it to be canceled. Very funny play. My goodness. Do we have anything to get into before we get into Blind Five? Any random things that you boys want to bring up? This is the time.
Nope.
Whatever you just did, Eric, fucked you up, dude. Your eyes are like crying now.
For real?
You got all red. Oh, did you just hit the vape or something?
Yeah, I mean my neck.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
All right, let's just get into Blind Five.
Yeah. So Blind Five, this one comes to you via my boss, Nevada. So the first option for you boys here is Dune.
Dune?
Ooh, okay. Sci-fi epics, Nick? Timothy Shot.
I was thinking outer space sci-fi.
Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. I want to see who the director is of this before I say the wrong director.
Villeneuve.
It's Villeneuve, right? Okay. So it could be Dennis Villeneuve films. It could be, what's her name? Zoe Saldana films.
Zoe Saldana's in it?
No. What's her name?
They're probably doing some dumbass like
Mary
Jason Momoa or
Mary Jane from Spider-Man.
Zendaya.
Zendaya. I don't know. I'll go with Daya. Well, there's options, Nick, but how about we just rate Dune purely on its, credibility? How much do you like Dune?
Dune's a good movie. It's probably a 3.
A 3? You want to do our customary 4? Let's do 3. Give us 3.
Dune at 3?
Yeah, give us 3.
Okay. All right. Next pick is Jurassic Park.
Ooh.
Jurassic Park. Books. Movies that were books. Jurassic Park is fire. The book is fire. The movie is fire.
Is it the first Jurassic Park?
I think all the movies are based off of a book.
Well, hold on. There's Jurassic Park: The Lost World, which is a book.
Nick, it's just the first one.
Jurassic Park.
Dude, Jurassic Park is a fire movie.
I'd say Jurassic Park 2. I love Jurassic Park, but I'm not ready to declare it one yet.
Me either. There's a lot of good movies that are books. Jurassic Park 2 fucks. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park at 2?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I got a caps lock going on here. All right. The next one is going to be Schindler's List.
5. Purely in solidarity with my brother Nick.
First hour and a half, 1. After that, 5.
Yeah, dude. No disrespect. Like, I could see why people like the movie a lot. Like, it's got great qualities. It's not something I'll ever watch again, though.
I was making a reference to when the Nazis were winning in the movie.
Oh, good shit, dude. I thought the movie was boring. That's funny.
Yeah. Oh God. I mean, that is. You want to talk about like an artist masturbating? That's Schindler's List. Is just that. It's just like shots of like. Give me Oscars. That's.
Look at this trash bag floating in the wind.
Look at this,
gorgeous.
Look at this girl in the red coat. Doesn't she have some sort of metaphor?
Color in the movie, right?
Huh?
What?
That's the only color in the movie, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Next one, Forrest Gump.
No, I don't like that movie, but I'll reserve my vote to Nick. Go ahead, Nick. Which one? Where do you want that?
Man, I hope that we're not getting a dud that I have to put 1, but I'll put Forrest Gump at 4.
Me
Forrest
too.
Gump at 4.
Yeah.
Wait, who doesn't like that movie? Jermaine?
Me. I don't
I'm
like
with
that
you on
movie.
that, dude. That movie is overrated like a motherfucker, dude.
The book is better. I prefer the book.
I've never read the book.
He goes to outer space with a monkey.
That's dope. Why didn't they include that?
That's what I always say. That's the whole reason I hate the book. I mean, the movie.
Damn.
All right.
And
Well, Eric don't know how to read, so he's out on the book.
Who? Me? Anyway. And then so for your number 1 spot is gonna be The Princess Bride.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that movie, dude.
That's fire. Yeah.
And Andre the Giant's in it. Let's go. I fuck with this list.
Anybody want a peanut?
You guys got the category right off the second movie. That was impressive. And your list is The Princess Bride, Jurassic Park, Dune, Forrest Gump, and Schindler's List.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
That were books.
Hey, this one was good. This one was good.
I mean, we won.
It could have stumped us.
It could have. We won, but yeah.
Could have.
Nice.
All right, so that's Blind 5. That was a good one. I like that one a lot. I mean, first of all, I've liked them all, really. I know my brother submitted one, Eric.
Oh, he submitted a bunch. They're in the queue, bro. They're in the queue.
That guy sucks.
You got anything to say to Jerome?
Yeah, that guy sucks. If he exists. I think Jerome's just a Russian troll farm I've been hearing about.
Yo, you know he's a Mariners fan?
Oh, good. I'm glad he's disappointed, like the rest of us.
One of us. One of us.
He should have been disappointed back in June.
No, that's the Rockies, dude. Wrong team. I actually watched more baseball than Nick this year.
You know what? It is so, I Nevada and I have been talking all year about 100 losses. But now that I actually see that the Rockies have less than 62 wins, it makes me physically sad. That there's a 5 in our win column makes me physically sad.
Dude, that's why I couldn't believe you guys were actively rooting for it. I was like, you don't understand what you're rooting for right now. And I think you finally hit that threshold. We're like, fuck, I may have.
Nothing's going to change.
Oh, that's unfortunate, bro.
So I just want to share something that I think is absolutely hilarious. So, Catalin Carrico and Drew Weissman won the Nobel Prize for Medicine for their research in mRNA. The very next article Excess deaths from cardiovascular diseases up 44% last year among UK citizens aged 15 to 44.
From mRNA. They get a Nobel Peace
And they get a Nobel Prize.
for killing people.
Hillary and Bill are next.
Bro, Hillary. I love how like the Hillary Foundation, what they did in Haiti when they tried stealing all those children, is recirculating on the internet.
Yeah.
The fact that people were ready to vote this woman in as the president of the United States is terrifying. How stupid people are.
Something I noticed, I don't know if you guys have noticed it because I don't think you guys binge as much television as I do, but there was so much television from 2016 to 2022. Every TV show, obviously it's Hollywood, it's written in Hollywood. Every TV show has this weird span where they have like this crazy, like they talk about how America's going to end because Trump won president. And then there's these weird fucking COVID seasons where everybody's separated wearing masks in the show. It's fucking god awful. Like Grey's Anatomy, fucking New Amsterdam, all these shows are just, they have such
cable television. Television.
It's just so bad. Like it's like they're all written by blue-haired, purple-haired women who are fucking mad as shit Hillary lost. And then as soon as COVID hit, it's just awful. It's just awful. Like just skip those years in television.
But we're living in the best years for television, right, Eric?
It is.
Dude, I was so hot.
Damn. Don't you hate when you say things that come back later?
Nah, it happens all the time, dude.
I was so hot when people kept telling me. I was like, dude, television sucks now, dude. Although, hey, shout out One Piece, the live action show on Netflix. For those of you listening, it's outstanding, bro. They did a very good job translating that to live action. So if you don't want to watch the anime, the live action's worth it. Oh, Ken Walker's gone. Kenny Three Sticks. Oh, who got that tackle? Oh, my goodness. All right, sorry, boys. Let's go ahead and get into the NBA futures for today's podcast. The Northwest Division, better known as the division that formerly had Damian Lillard. Give us the first team, Eric.
All right, so the reigning NBA champs, division winners of the Northwest Division last year, and again slated as the favorites to win the NBA Finals and this division is the Denver Nuggets. Finals odds plus 475, division odds minus 475, to make the playoffs minus 4,000, to miss the playoffs plus 1,400. Their line has been set at 53.5 wins.
Oh, that's such a good line.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Nuggets stay healthy this year, so I'm going to take the over on. Oh, sorry. Before we get into that, Denver Nuggets added Justin Holiday on a 1-year deal. Reggie Jackson returned on a 2-year deal, and DeAndre Jordan returned on a two-year deal. Notable subtraction from last year's World NBA Finals winning team is Bruce Brown, departed in free agency. World.
Jeff Green too, by the way.
And Jeff Green. Yeah,
Jeff off the list, dude.
Yeah, he played 9 minutes for them last year. Let's go ahead and spotlight that guy. Just kidding. I love the line. I think Jamal Murray's first regular season fully healthy. Denver Nuggets. Give me the over 53.5. Denver Nuggets push for probably the best overall record on the season this year. I'll take the over on that. Obviously, yes to make the playoffs and yes to win the division. I mean, I'm not really betting those, but just for the sake of filling out the document, that's what I'm going to take. And then give me a little pizza money on the Nuggets plus 475. I know it's incredibly hard to repeat, but they have a roster completely predicated on doing just that. And even though Bruce Brown departed, they have this kid by the name of Brown. His actual name is
Christian Braun.
It's Brown. His last name is Brown. I know. I'm on your side on this one. I'm on your side, but that is his name. It's Christian Brown.
Goddamn Ellis Island, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Christian Brown replaces Bruce Brown. I think he's going to have a big year this year. He might be in contention for most improved just by proxy of minutes played, but will not win it because there's a lot of good candidates this year for that. Oh, Geno Smith.
Speaking of Christian Brown, that kid.
Brown, Eric.
Brown, whatever, dude. He won 2 national titles for, I believe it was the state of Ohio. He won the Mr. Ohio for basketball. He won he got awards for all freshman team for the Big 12, and then another All-American for the Big 12. And then his junior year, he won the national title at Kansas. Immediately following the next year, he won a title with the Denver Nuggets. That kid is a winner, bro.
For sure, yeah. He's got a nice X factor that's perfect for this team. They actually added some nice rookies here. Julian Strother out of Gonzaga is a nice add. Hunter Tyson should give them a nice wing addition as well, depending on if they actually hit. So Denver Nuggets continue to build a formidable roster around their key core, and expect them to do more of the same here. Let's go ahead and move. Sorry, Nick, did you already give yours predictions?
No, but I don't have anything that I don't have anything that differs from you. I mean, they lost a couple of key rotation players, but didn't really, or a key rotation player in Bryce Brown, but they didn't really lose any big piece of their lineup, and they're secured for a couple of years. Boy, do I wish I were a Nuggets fan. boy, do I wish I cared about the Nuggets, because I would probably like this team a lot. I also think they stay healthy. I'm also going to go with your over 53.5. They obviously win the division. Well, not obviously. I'll take them to win the division. God forbid that comes back to bite me in the ass. Make the playoffs, and then I'm also going to sprinkle a little bit of pizza money on Denver Nuggets repeat.
Yeah. Okay. So chalk across. Well, not chalk, but you and I picked the same thing on that one. Eric, you gave your picks on that, correct?
No, the only thing that differs for me from you guys is I'm not taking them to repeat, and I'm taking the under because other teams have gotten a little bit better. It's an 82-game season. I still do believe they'll be one of the top 2 seeds in the West, and they'll probably be in the Western Conference Finals. So I'm going to take the under, but I will take them as the division winners, and I do take them to make the playoffs.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Very next team, Eric, go ahead and give us the odds for them.
So the team with these, basically the odds for this division are to finish the exact same way it finished last year. So the Minnesota Timberwolves finished second last year. They have the second best odds to win this division. Plus 7,500 for the finals, plus 700 to win this division, minus 150 to make the playoffs, plus 120 to miss the playoffs, and their line is set at 44.5.
Oof, that feels high. It feels very, very high. So here are some of the additions that they had, or notable returnees. Nickeil Alexander-Walker returned on a 2-year deal. Troy Brown came in on a deal, doesn't say how long. Anthony Edwards signed a 5-year max extension. They added Vit Krejci on a deal, and Shake Milton came in, leaving Philadelphia. That's kind of a sneaky little pickup for some guard depth, especially with Mike Conley aging out at the point guard position. And then Naz Reid probably won't play a ton of this year since he did tear his ACL at the very end of the season. Returned on a 3-year deal, but it shouldn't impact their actual overall play. Unfortunately, I don't think the coach is very good here. I don't think the roster construction is very good here. I think in order for this team to hit that 44.5 mark, Anthony Edwards has to go truly nuclear. And the fact that he was the kind of one of the stars for Team USA at the FIBA World Championship, even though they set all kinds of records for awful performance, could springboard him into taking that leap that we all kind of want him to take. This is not the year. Jaden McDaniels broke his hand. I think he just isn't going to be the same this year. Kyle Anderson's another year older. He's 30. He was already one of the slowest players in the league. I hate this roster construction. I don't think the coach is good enough to get anything out of this roster. Give me the under 44.5 plus money no to make the playoffs. Yes, please.
Nick, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, this is a Minnesota Timberwolves team that like Jermaine is saying, returns 12 players from a roster last year that won 42 games, right? They didn't really add anybody who would give them an extra 3 wins, right? And it's going to take, I completely agree with Jermaine that it's going to take Anthony Edwards continuing the play from the World Cup, but elevating it past that for Minnesota to even get over this total. And you look, they won 42 games last year and still were still in the play, had to win a play-in game.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take Minnesota to miss the playoffs at plus 120. I think a lot of things fell into place last year for Minnesota. I just don't think they added enough good players to keep the momentum going. And if we're saying that playoffs are the 8 teams that make it after the play-in, then I don't think Minnesota makes it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's safe to say. So they had 42 last year, so I don't see where they added 2.5 wins on this list. And the other thing is just to get back on Denver for a brief second, they won 53 games last year and sleptwalked the last 20 games of the season. And this is a team that, even though they won the championship, has a gigantic chip on their shoulder. They feel disrespected, and I don't think they're happy with the way that the narrative is around this team. So that's kind of why I think they go over. But as Eric said, the Western Conference is stacked. So them hitting the under is incredibly plausible. Let's go ahead and get into the next team. Oh, sorry, Eric. Give us your Minnesota Timberwolves shenanigans.
I got them under 44.5. They're not going to make the playoffs, and I wish I had a button for like a because Cat will not be a Minnesota Timberwolf by the end of the year. Calling it right now. But
did you have a dream on that one? Or
no, I've been saying it for 5 years, and I'm going to keep saying it until they trade his bitch ass. Dick for no reason at the same goddamn time, bro. Just a waste of fucking big, beautiful, fucking chocolatey skin, dude, and height. Just what a waste, dude.
What a waste.
Anyway, Oklahoma City Thunder finished third last year, predicted to be third this year. Finals odds plus 8,000 to win the division, plus 800 to make the playoffs, minus 135 to miss the playoffs, plus 110. They are set at 44.5 as well.
Oh, this is my darling team. If anyone knows me, they know that I stand over the Oklahoma City Thunder organization. Let's get into some of the additions they had this year. Davis Bertans joined via trade with Mavs. Usman Garuba joined via trade with the Hawks. Vasily Micic agreed to a multi-year deal. They traded for Victor Oladipo, and they added Jack White on a 2-year deal. Their entire roster consists of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who played for Team Canada this year in the FIBA World Cup and absolutely dominated. Josh Giddey, who played for Australia this year's World Cup. Luguentz Dort, ASU alum, forks up. Jalen Williams. Just cracks me up that they have 2 Jalen Williams on their team, especially since they're both good, but one is just way better. Chet Holmgren comes in. This is his rookie year. This is actually a little foreshadowing for you, ladies and gentlemen. This was my dark horse to win Rookie of the Year this year. So they have Alexei Pukasevsky, who missed most of last year. They have Andrew Wiggins' little brother, Aaron Wiggins. Trey Mann is good. Kenrick Williams is good. Like, they just have talented positionless basketball players. And that's what makes this team so excited to me. The addition of Victor Oladipo is pretty interesting since he used to play for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Are we going to just continue to hope Victor Oladipo can bounce back? I mean, this is his 87th injury. But and then the Davis Bertans pick, a 6'10" big who could stretch the floor, shooting 36%, about league average. I think that's a kind of a slept-on addition to this team. Give me the over 44.5. This is a team that finishes somewhere around the 4 or 5 mark, and people are going to be surprised about it. They're going to have another All-NBA season from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Chet Holmgren will announce himself on the stage that is the National Basketball Association. Give me yes to make the playoffs, and I know I picked the Denver Nuggets, but if we do live in the world where Eric's under hits, Oklahoma City Thunder plus 800 to win the division is worth a gander for a little pizza money. But I won't take it since I'm riding the Nuggets. I'm just saying. Let's go ahead and see what you got here, Nick.
Yeah, I think you hit everything. The Thunder returned 15 players this year from last year's squad and added a bunch of Burton's is good. Milicic is good. I want Victor Oladipo to be good so bad. I want him to come back from his and not get his 87th injury. And the Chet Holmgren thing is huge, right? I think the biggest problem, if you want to call it that, for the Thunder is who's going to be the superstar on this team?
SGA.
I mean, maybe, right? But like, I think that he's not even really that big of a quote unquote superstar. I think you got 12 players. I think you have a full bench that needs minutes, right? If you want to call it a problem. I'm sure any coach in the NBA would love to have a full bench that needs minutes, right? I think the Thunder are a deep team. I think they're going to play. I'm not as bold as Jermaine yet. I think the Thunder need to show me, especially with the Denver Nuggets, maybe in a weaker division. If Denver didn't win the title last year and lost players in free agency, I'd be able to bet it. I am going to take the over 44.5. I am going to take them to win the playoffs. And I like them to finish second in this division. For sure.
Cool.
For sure. All right, give us your take on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
It's chalk with you guys. Over 44.5. They'll be the second team in this division. I'm with you. I think they'll be a 5 or 6 seed. Nick, I know you said that they don't have, that SGA is a fucking problem, dude.
He was all NBA first team last year.
He's what everybody. This is not the same because he doesn't have that same level of athleticism, but he is what Memphis wishes Ja would do. Shut his fucking mouth, bust his ass in the gym, and get really fucking good at basketball.
Yeah, John Morant's athleticism is special.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's not the same because of the athleticism, but if Ja didn't have that athleticism, he'd be just another average NBA player. Low IQ, terrible shot, like whatever. Anyway, so I'm going to go over for them, and they're going to make the playoffs. Last year's fourth place team, the Utah Jazz, again projected to finish fourth. Finals odds plus 25,000 to win the division, plus 5,000 to make the playoffs, plus 360 to miss the playoffs, minus 500, and their line is set at 35.5.
Okay, so some of the additions they had in the offseason, Jordan Clarkson returned on a 3-year extension. They did make a big trade for John Collins with the Atlanta Hawks, and then they signed Omer Yurtseven as some depth to their front line. The complete roster for them looks a little bit like so they have Jordan Clarkson, Talen Horton-Tucker, Colin Sexton, Chris Dunn, John Collins, Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, and Ochai Agbaji out of Kansas, and Kelly Olynyk. Look, I loved watching the Utah Jazz last year. They were scrappy, well-coached. They played together as a unit, but they overachieved. It's time for a regression to the mean. They cannot continue to roll out a point guard by committee. They need to get someone who can actually run the show for that team. Walker Kessler needs to show me that he can actually provide some value offensively other than a role man, but he will be a defensive stalwart. Lauri Markkanen, I hope, continues to ball out, and I expect him to perform similar to how he performed last year, but it just won't be as efficient. The Utah Jazz, time to take a step back. And 35.5 is a very good line. In this division, they did have 37 wins last year. I don't know if I don't know if John Collins really moves me to 37. To maintain that 37. I'll still take the over on this one. I think the 35.5 is settled just right. I have them not making the playoffs, and then I don't want any other action anywhere else. On to you, Nick.
Yeah, I think you hit it right, and I think John Collins was a guy who balled out in Atlanta and was kind of caught up in the Hawks needed to salary dump somebody, and the Jazz were there to catch him when he fell. Right, Jordan Clarkson was a good extension. A good renegotiated an extension. I think they had an outstanding draft. Is Utah ready to play right now? I think the answer is no. And the problem is I think Utah could eke out a playoff spot if the Pacific Division in basketball didn't exist, right? Because it does. I think they have enough players. I think John Collins does move the number for me to a team that had 37 wins last year. Right now you're rating him at 35. I'll take the over 35.5. I don't think they make the playoffs again because the Pacific Division exists in the Western Conference. I don't even think they make the play-in game, but I would. This Utah Jazz team is. I'm talking about them like they've been out of the game for years, right? But we just talked about them 3 years ago. We're going to be talking about them in another 3.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Eric.
I was just going to say, to me, they're just kind of like the Pacers. Like, they're always kind of just going to be around. They had those weird years where they were the number 1 seed off of insanely non-playoff ready basketball, which cost them fucking playoff victories. But I agree. I have the over for wins just because I think Minnesota's going to shit the bag so bad, and I don't think they make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's also a great line. 35.5 when they won 37 last year. Even if they have some regression with the addition of John Collins, it should offset. So it puts you right around where they were last year. So I think that's a great line. Let's go ahead and get into the final team of the Northwest Division.
Yeah, so finished 5th last year. Most likely going to finish 5th again. Damian Lillard less Portland Trail Blazers to win the finals plus 25,000, to win this division plus 10,000. To make the playoffs, plus 475. To miss, minus 700. Their line was set at 31.5.
31.5. Okay, so let's get into – hold on. I just want to see how many years. So Dame Lillard's been in the league for 11 years. So this will be the first time in 11 years that Portland doesn't have Dame Lillard. That's crazy. Over a decade. All right. So they re-signed Jeremy Grant on a 5-year deal, and they added Matisse Thybulle on a 3-year deal. This is where we'll actually be able to discuss the trade, Eric. And so we'll go and get into some of what they received in it. So they ended up getting 2 unprotected first-round picks, one from Milwaukee and one from Boston. I think both of them are in 2029, which is pretty hysterical. Then they got 3 picks.
That's not a year.
They got 3 pick swaps, right? 2 from Milwaukee, 1 from Boston by way of some other team. I don't remember that. But they turned Dame Lillard into Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams III, the Time Lord, DeAndre Ayton, and they added, where's that kid's name? It's he's a rookie this year. Tumani Kamara, right? Rookie out of Dayton. And what was the last player they added in that deal? Anyways, I don't remember who the last player was in the trade. But also, they added Scoot Henderson in the draft. Darling to Eric, darling to a lot of NBA scouters who really love just the moxie at which this kid plays with. And then there is also the addition of Chris Murray, 23-year-old rookie out of Iowa, who happens to be the younger brother of Keegan Murray, a budding small forward star for the Sacramento Kings. So there's a lot to be excited about. It's going to be year 2 of the Shaedon Sharpe era, who, if you've heard me talk, I gush about him. Anthony Simons is in his 5th year. It's now, kind of his show, him and Scoot. So we'll be able to see what Anthony Simons has. I don't think he has quite the ceiling that Sharpe and Scoot have. I love the flyer they took on DeAndre Ayton. This is going to be one of my favorite teams to watch this year just because they have so much young talent. And this kind of reminds me of what we saw when I was all over the Pelicans to be better than expected after the Anthony Davis trade. They just added great talent, and this will be a team to watch in the next few years. Go ahead and give me the under on this team. Now that I've said all that, right, I'm going to take the under purely from how good the parity is in the league. This is going to be a prove-it year for me with Chauncey Billups. I don't know how good a head coach Chauncey Billups actually is, and I reserve the right to say that he's trash after this season to see what he does with this team. This is going to be all about getting this young core minutes and developing them. I love, DeAndre and Time Lord getting added to their center position instead of Yusuf Nurkic and pairing them with the timeline of this team, like a Matisse Thybulle and Anthony Simons. And then I'll be interested to see if they actually do move Jeremy Grant, which makes the most sense for them. So give me the under, but still going to adore watching this team play basketball. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I think you crushed it. I mean, this is not a team that's going to win now, but they made a really great move trading Dame, and I mean, picking up their trade and picking up their haul and screaming away from this, you're going to give us, you guys are going to give us all that for this guy, right? I mean, I think Matisse Thybulle is the best defensive player the Bucks have, or the Bucks, the Trailblazers have right now, and that's exactly what you need when you want a young team, right? Teach a young team how to defend and win, and Matisse Thybulle, I think, is a very good defender. I'm also going to take the under 31.5. They're not making the playoffs. They're not winning the division. They're not going to the finals. I think based on what they got back for Lillard, I think they're going to have a very, very bright future. I just don't think it's going to be now, and I may pass on it being next year as well.
All right, Eric.
I do appreciate the Matisse Thybulle shout out from Nick, even though he's dead to me. I think a rejuvenated number 1 draft pick who went to where big men go to die is kind of scary, but I'm going to take the over. I have them finishing 3rd in the division, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to perform a little bit better than people expect. They got a lot of youth in the backcourt, a lot of athleticism in the backcourt. They got decent shooting. Jeremy Grant, for as much confusion as his contract has caused me and Jermaine and multiple conversations, I still do think he brings something to that team if they keep him that's valuable as far as length, ability to guard positions 1 through 4. I believe in Chauncey Billups. I believe when you are a high IQ player like that in the league, usually if you're given a fair shot, you can tend to be a good coach. I mean, it just depends on the person and the scheme. But, I picked the Rockets to win the Southwest Division. I'm going to pick the Portland Trailblazers to go finish 3rd. I believe in them, and I think they will be the team that I watch the 3rd most this year, mostly because NBA League Pass and the coast that we live on, we catch all the Kings games and Portland Trailblazer games, but I am looking forward to watching them play. You guys, you heard my rant on Scoot. He's everybody's saying that this dude from the Spurs in France is a generational talent. Well, let me tell you about my boy Scoot. All right. He's what fucking John Morant wishes he could be. He's the next fucking AI incarnate. He's going to dominate the league. He's going to win Rookie of the Year, and the Portland Trailblazers will be contenders, playoff contenders, within the next 2 years.
He has a worse shot than John Morant, bro.
Don't care. He'll fix it. Matisse Thybulle will teach him.
I'm just saying he's got a worse shot than John Morant. The rookie wall is real. He will hit it, and it'll be in January when he's played an entire college season, in the span of 3 or 4 months. But no, I think it's fire. If you like the over, take the over. It's probably plus money. So that's another thing. That's one thing that we don't have here about whether or not the over is plus money. But if it's plus money and you feel that way, go ahead and rock it.
When I put the lines, the reason I don't put the odds is because like 95% of the time it's minus 110 on both sides.
Yeah,
occasionally it'll be like minus 105, plus 105, something like that. But for the most part, it's minus 110, minus 110 on the other side. To Scoot's benefit, now I don't know if the G League's been around long enough, but he played G League ball, not college ball, and I don't know if that makes a difference for rookies. But he'll hit a rookie wall, but they still have Anthony, they still have Shaden Sharp, they still have Murray will hit a rookie wall as well. But they have guys. They have guys.
Yeah, I agree. They got talent. It's just. I have yet to see the G League really pay off as far as kids being ready for the NBA. It doesn't feel very much different, in my opinion. But that wraps up. Actually, we almost forgot like last time. We got to get the exact order in here. So go ahead, Nick.
I'll take Denver, OKC, Minnesota, Utah, Portland.
Okay.
I'll take Denver, OKC, Utah, Minnesota, Portland.
I already told you guys mine. I got Denver, OKC, Portland, Utah, Minnesota.
Oh.
Yeah, he has them over Utah. That was the one that I was like, okay, all right, we go find out. Hey, we don't come here for chalk, boys.
No doubt.
All right, so that wraps up the Northwest Division and the Western Conference. Is it readily available who we have making the Western Conference playoffs, Eric?
Yeah. So, and I was actually going to talk to you post, but we can just run through it. So, Jermaine, you have Phoenix, Golden State, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Sacramento Kings coming out of the Pacific. You have the Dallas Mavericks, the New Orleans Pelicans coming out of the Southwest, and then you have the Nuggets and the Thunder coming out of the Northwest. Nick, you have 9 teams, so I was going to ask you a post show.
Damn right.
You want to take off the Clippers because that was a team you were on the fence about when we did the Pacific.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So
that was what past Nick said.
That was ages ago. That was ages ago.
Guys, I'm older and more mature now.
Nick has Phoenix, Golden State, Lakers, and Kings coming out of the Pacific. He has Dallas and New Orleans coming out of the Southwest, and then he has Denver and Oklahoma City coming out of the Northwest. I have the Suns, the Warriors, the Lakers, and the Kings, as well as the Mavericks, Rockets, and Nuggets and Thunder.
Oh, you have the Pelicans missing the playoffs.
Yeah, because they're a bunch of pussies. And Zion's only going to play 18 games.
Okay, I got aggressive, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and move into the NHL division, Eric. Atlantic.
Moving into the Atlantic. Man, what a tough division here. So last year, second place finishers Toronto Maple Leafs are the favorites to finish on top this year. Stanley Cup odds plus 900 to win their division, plus 200. To make the playoffs, minus 700 to miss the playoffs, plus 475, and their point total has been set at 106.5. Nick, what you got? What are Nevada's Nuggies?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, that's a funny thing. He said they went the Thanos route with free agency this year. So they added a great scoring threat in Max Domi. They added John Klingenberg, who's a frequent defensive liability, which is what you want in a defender. But he's a very significant offensive presence. Ryan Reeves, who's an enforcer and a muscle guy in the age where you don't see a lot of those anymore. And Tyler Bertuzzi, excuse me, fuck Todd Bertuzzi. They lost Michael Bunting, Alex Kerfoot, Ryan O'Reilly, Wayne Simmons, Luke Sheen, Eric Gustafsson, but and fired their GM Kyle Dubas. But overall, this Toronto Maple Leafs team got better.
I can't believe they let O'Reilly walk, though.
Yeah, the problem and the reason they let O'Reilly walk is they're facing severe cap restrictions right now.
That makes sense.
They're still $13 million over the cap, which I wouldn't be surprised if we see William Nylander, who's right now he doesn't have a contract extension signed right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get him signed sometime, if they trade him away before the trade deadline. I mean, regardless of how that plays out, though, the Leafs are one of the deepest, strongest teams in the league. Ultimately, nobody in Toronto cares until they until they actually do well in the playoffs. This is clearly a 1 year in it to win it scenario for the Maple Leafs. They won it. They had 111 points last year. I think they're going to match that. I'll go over 106.5. I'll go make the playoffs. Yes, I'll go plus 200 to win the division. I think Toronto's winning the division. And finals odds, I'm not that bold.
Have some stones.
I'm not that bold.
I actually think they surpass 111. This is going to be one of those hypercharged offenses, and if you play fantasy hockey, you're going to want some pieces of this Toronto Maple Leafs team. So give me the over on the points. Give me yes to make the playoffs. I cannot, in good conscience, pick them to win the division. I know that they're the favorite to win the division, but they can get bent. This is going to be one of those teams where, how I took the stance with the Utah Jazz. I know I rode Canadian teams in the playoffs last year. That was just for shits and gigs. But, prove me wrong. Once you prove me wrong, I'll be in on the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's kind of how I felt with the Washington Capitals until they proved me wrong. It's how I felt with the Lightning until they proved me wrong. So here we are. Prove me wrong. I have you not winning the division.
Eric,
you're muted, brother.
Eric, you're on mute.
And Nevada is our hockey aficionado, so I will have his picks, and those will be posted on the socials, so make sure you go check those out. But I don't have them ready, so we're just going to jump into the next team, the division winner last year, the Boston Bruins. Slated to finish second this year, plus 1,600 for the Stanley Cup, plus 380 for the Atlantic Division, minus 300 to make the playoffs, plus 235 to miss. Their point total set at 101.5. Nicholas.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I don't remember a team in recent memory that has lost as much talent this summer than the Bruins did.
Talk about cap casualties.
Yeah, I mean, the Tyler Bertuzzi, Taylor Hall, Nick Foligno, Garnett Hathaway, Dmitry Orlov, Connor Clifton, and the retirements of Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci. I mean, those are the heart and soul of the Bruins. They did bring in James Van Riemsdyk, reunited with Milan Lucic, and signed Kevin Shattenkirk.
He shat on who?
Yeah, Shattenkirk. They had an NHL record 135 points last year and then lost in the first round. I disagree with Nevada. Nevada says they took a step back from last year, but they should be fine in his notes. I disagree.
Me too.
I don't know how you can bet for this I'll call them a paper thin group. They still have great goaltending, and they you can't count out Lucic and Van Riemsdyk and Shattenkirk, but they have no ability to make, and we'll get into this is a little bit of foreshadowing. They have no ability to make in-season moves, and Buffalo, Ottawa, and Detroit, fuck the Red Wings, got better this year.
There's mad foreshadowing for me there, bro.
So, you can't count Boston out of the playoffs, but
yes, I can.
They are not as good as they are last year. I'm going to take the under on points. I'm going to take them plus 235 to miss the playoffs.
Attaboy! Give me the same thing, Eric. Fade Boston. They do not have the ability to persist through injury.
Yeah, I mean, they have to play the most injury-free and good hockey to even have a chance to qualify. I'd say in the 4th spot in this division.
If they have any sort of mid-season slide, I do not think they have the ability to get back. I want the under on the points. I want no to make the playoffs. I cannot believe they are plus 380 to win the division. I think that's too high. And,
something you guys don't.
Yeah, Vegas typically does.
All right. Moving into last year's 4th place finisher in the Atlantic is the Florida Panthers, who represented the, what would it be, Eastern Conference in the Stanley Cup Finals?
Correct. Right?
Yeah. They are plus 1,600 to win the Stanley Cup, plus 380 to win the Atlantic, minus 220 to make the playoffs, plus 180 to miss the playoffs, and their point total set at 99.5.
Yeah, so the Florida Panthers limped, towed an anchor with them into the season after winning the President's Trophy 2 years ago. But once they got into the playoffs, they looked like the team that won the President's Trophy 2 years ago. I think they had a lot of cap restrictions They brought Evan Rodriguez, Oliver Ekman-Larsson in. None of those are real like big signings, but they already have Matthew Tkachuk, Barkov, and Sergei Bobrovsky. I think the question is how does this team respond from the cup run last year, right? Does it galvanize the team to know that, hey, even though we played poorly in the regular season, so when they're going through the slumps, they made the run in the playoffs, or is this the high point of them and they're not going to get back to it? If the goalie play, right, if Bobrovsky picks it up, or they have a guy named Spencer Knight, if he's back from the NHL Players Association Player Assistance Program, if they can find a way for one of those goalies to excel, they're going to be one of the best teams in this division. I think they're still a playoff team, right? I think it's going to be kind of that third, fourth position again, though. Last year they won. Last year they had 92 points. I'm going to take the under on 99.5 points. I will take them to make the playoffs, minus 220. But I don't see them winning the division, and I don't see them going to the finals. Jermaine?
I think they have a hangover. I think that team put so many minutes on all their good players just to make that finals, and then to even try to make that finals competitive. I think they get kind of hit with some injury bugs, some regression on some of the players, and they already struggled to make the playoffs last year. The additions that they brought into the team, I don't think they did enough for a team that just lost the Stanley Cup. I expected them to be more aggressive. Now, there are in-season moves in the NHL. Quite often, there's a lot of in-season moves. And this could be one of those teams that does shoot to make something happen mid-season. But as of right now, as of recording this, I have under, and I have them not making the playoffs.
All right. And again, we'll have Nevada's picks on the socials at Podcast Room303. Make sure you check it out. But last year's third place finishing team, Tampa Bay Lightning. They have the fourth best odds to win this division, plus 2,000 for the Stanley Cup, plus 1,600 to win the Atlantic, minus 190 to make the playoffs, plus 155 to miss. Their their point total set at 96.5. Nick, what you got?
I mean, let's just say this right off the bat. It's the Tampa Bay Lightning, right? Just like the Boston Bruins, they're a team that when they start the season, they're going to instill the fear of God in you. and just playing them, when you see them in the playoffs, it's going to make you shake in their boots. Yeah, they got beat by the Leafs last year. Yeah, they look like they're out of gas after losing the first round. Vasilevsky's out for the first at least 2 months of the season, right? 8 to 10 weeks. They lost Pat Maroon, Corey Perry, Cody Bellamore. I think they. Pierre-Edouard Bellamore. They didn't really add. They're another one of these teams in the Atlantic. The Atlantic just has teams that are so cap constrained right now that they're not able to make a lot of moves. I think the reason the Lightning have been good the last 4 years is they've had a lot of depth, right? I think losing Alex Killorn and Ross Colton is a devastating blow, and they replaced them with fringe players. It's going to be hard to bet against Stamkos, Kucherov, Brendan Point, Hedman, Sergachev. They have enough ammunition to be a playoff team. I just don't think they're going to do it. They had 98 points last year. Give me the under for 96.5. Give me plus 155 not to make the playoffs. And obviously that cancels everything out. I just think the sun has set on the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Man, so this is where I struggled when I was going through and making my picks, mocking who I was going to have in the playoffs. I was like, which team do I think doesn't make it between Florida and Tampa Bay? Because I was instantly out on Boston, right? I'll happily fade Boston this year and hope that the name value is what drove their prices and their odds up that high, and hope that there's value on the other side of the line. But I was like, who do I think is less likely to make it, Florida or Tampa Bay? And I just could not pick Tampa Bay. And so I was like, all right, I'll take Tampa Bay to make the playoffs, because even last year we didn't think they were very good, and they still almost beat the Maple Leafs in the first round. But that is customary. That's almost like Biggie sizing it at McDonald's. Give me the over on 96.5.
Interesting.
All right. So
I couldn't fade him. I tried, and I hate the Lightning. I tried. I just couldn't do it, dude.
Gross.
All right. Moving into the fifth best odds, Buffalo Sabres, plus 3,500 for the Stanley Cup, plus 900 to win the Atlantic. Minus 120 to make the playoffs, minus 110 to miss the playoffs, and their over-under point total set at 92.5.
Yeah, the Sabres won 91, had 91 points last year. They missed the playoffs by 1 point over a striking Carolina Panthers, or Florida Panthers. Jeez, that was
Freudian slip.
Freudian slip. If not for awful defensive play last year, the Buffalo Sabres are in the playoffs. They have a high scoring offense. Just look at 296 goals for. That's the second highest in the Atlantic Division. And really, we talk about the Bruins, 305 goals for. The Sabres were 9 goals behind them, and the Bruins were an all-time good offense. It's why they had 137 points or 135
set the
points.
Record.
Right? Here's the only difference. The Bruins allowed 177 goals. The Panthers allowed the Sabres allowed 300, right?
Quality at goaltender was
right.
The deal breaker.
Right. So, I mean, Jermaine, you just hit it, right? But the Buffalo Sabres didn't make a lot of moves this offseason. But what they did is they did add Eric Johnson from the Colorado Avalanche. They did add Connor Clifton, right? Didn't let him leave the division. And now the question is, can Devin Levi come through as a dependable number one goalie, right? If he can, I mean, Buffalo, I think Buffalo is going to seriously push for a division spot. They're going to be a young team, a young, fun team to watch, just like the New Jersey Devils. If this defense improves just a little bit, the offense is already there. I still think Tampa Bay has the quality. Toronto has the quality to hold Buffalo off in this division. Give me the over 92.5. Give me minus 120 to make the playoffs. I'm going to throw a little bit of pizza money on plus 900 to win the division, though, because I would not be surprised if this Buffalo Sabres team really puts it together and figures it out this year.
Son of a bitch. Nick is just going to ruin all my picks this year. The only reason the Devils hit is everyone laughed at me. Over on points. Look, Buffalo is going to regress to the mean at a minimum, right? As long as they don't let up 200 and whatever ungodly number they let up for goals, they're going to get more points by proxy. They're going to be in more games. It's another year better. Buffalo Sabres is one of those teams to watch for the next 3 to 4 years. They're only going to get better. So give me the over, give me yes to make the playoffs, and absolutely smash the Buffalo Sabres to win the division.
I like it. All right. Moving on, the sixth best odds are the Ottawa Senators. Stanley Cup odds plus 4,000, Atlantic odds plus 1,100. To make the playoffs, plus 130, to miss it, minus 160, and their point total was set at 90.5.
So last year, Ottawa Senators, I think they're a team on the rise, 86 points last year. They signed Vladimir Tarasenko. But they did move their biggest offensive threat, basically replaced Alex DeBrincat when they moved him to the Detroit Red Wings. Fuck the Red Wings. And replaced him with Vlad Tarasenko. I think the Senators are a team that is slowly getting better, right? A team that needs to improve their defense. They have some good veterans on their defensive squad, along with some good young guys that can learn from the veterans. They need to be a team that doesn't that needs to allow less than 3 goals a game. They need to be a team that can win, 2-1 and 3-2 hockey games. I think this may be something that we see that Ottawa spends, kind of what Florida spent last year, is just chugging the whole season up, down, win, loss, to try to get to that playoff spot. 86 points last year. Their total is set at 90.5. I'll go Ottawa over points. I'm going to say they're not going to make the playoffs, though. I think they're a year away from being from actually being in playoff contention. And I think there's a couple of good teams in the Metropolitan that are going to challenge them for the wild card.
Yeah, so I was seriously flirting with Boston, Florida, Tampa Bay not making the playoffs parlay, but I can't in good conscience not expect one of those 3 to make the playoffs. And the reason why is because I'm very high on Ottawa, and I talked about how this year Detroit would be one of those teams to watch out for. I'll take over points for Ottawa and no to make the playoffs, though.
All right. Seems like we got a little agreement between you guys there. Moving into the Nick's favorite team, the 7th best odds Detroit Red Wings. Plus 7,500 to win the Stanley Cup, plus 2,500 to win the Atlantic, plus 230 to make the playoffs, minus 300 to miss the playoffs. Their line is their point total is set at 85.5.
Yeah, so last season, the Red Wings, 80 points. Fuck it. Let me just start by saying fuck the Detroit Red Wings. They added a good player in Alex DeBrincat. Other than that, I mean, James Reimer maybe as a backup goalkeeper, Shane Gust Highspear, and JT Compter. But if you're, as an Avs fan who's watched JT Compter not be able to hit the broadside of a barn for multiple years, if you're rolling with JT Compter as your second center, it doesn't bode well for your depth. Who's going to be their goalie? And it's pretty good to say, and I'm you guys can stop me talking here because I'm very biased, but it's very, very cool to see that the Steve Yzerman Tampa Bay plan is not faring so well in Detroit. I think 85.5 is a little too high for them. I don't think any of their offseason moves really move the needle that much to advance them 5 points. So I'm going to take the under points, and they're not making the playoffs. Jermaine?
85.5 is the most amazing line you could have given this team. I mean, you give me 83.5, I'm all over the over. You give me 87.5, I'm all over the under. This is about where I see them finishing, and I would love to abstain, but this is a betting podcast, so I will pick one way or the other. And I will say this: in Yzerman, we trust. Give me the over and no to make the playoffs.
Steve Yzerman is not. We don't trust Steve Yzerman.
He's so bad.
Such a bum, dude.
I said it just to piss him off.
I'm glad you didn't even say his name right, though. That was pretty good.
I don't have to say his name right. It's going to get you riled up anyways.
Fuck the dead things.
So moving into the team with the worst odds in the Atlantic, also the team with the third lowest point total this projected this season, the Montreal Canadiens, plus 25,000 to win the Stanley Cup, plus 20,000 to win the Atlantic, plus 1,700 to make the playoffs, minus 4,000 to miss the playoffs, and their point total was set at 70.5.
Yeah, I mean, Nevada has one word under the Canadians, and it's yikes. Right, I completely agree with it. Right, similar to last year, they're still in the process of stripping the walls out of this house. Right, I expect to see guys like Brendan Gallagher, Josh Anderson, Jake Allen, veterans be moved by the Capitals or by the Canadians at the deadline. You already saw that with guys like Jonathan Drouin, Matt Hoffman, Chris Tierney, guys that they moved in the offseason. I think what's looking really good. So I'll say this: give me the under on 70.5. They're not making the playoffs. They're not winning the division. They're not winning the finals. Right. I will say this though: Montreal fans are being very, very patient and understanding that they have a very, very good core in Montreal, a young, good core. It's just going to take probably
2 more years.
Yeah, I would say at a minimum, I was going to say 3 to 4 more years before we start seeing this team challenge again, like the team 2 to 3 years ago did.
I think they could be a sleeper in 2 years, purely because some of these teams at the top are like the Florida Panthers in 2 years, concerning. Tampa Bay Lightning in 2 years.
Dead.
I mean, we could be talking about them by way of the Boston Bruins, where everyone departs in one offseason. I will say that Montreal not stripping away Blackhawks-esque in one season, it seems kind of silly to me. They're just kind of prolonging the rebuild, in my opinion, by keeping some of these guys. But they should get some more valuable capital. They have some very good prospects. So give me the under, give me no to make the playoffs, which obviously lends itself to the Metropolitan Division being a massive betting show. So keep it locked for when we touch on the Metropolitan Division. Let's go ahead and get into our exact orders. Nick, who do you got?
Give me Toronto, Buffalo, Florida, Boston, Tampa Bay, Ottawa, Detroit, Montreal.
All right. I'll go ahead and take the Buffalo Sabres, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Then I'll go Panthers, Bruins. Ottawa, Detroit, Montreal. Montreal should be in the running for the number 1 overall pick. One thing I will say is don't count the Blackhawks out for the number 1 overall pick. That is we sustain an injury at any level, and that could tilt the entire season back towards the number 1. And Nick and Nevada will lose their goddamn mind.
I have no problem with the Blackhawks.
Oh. That doesn't make it for an exciting podcast.
Oh, sorry. I mean, fuck the Blackhawks.
All right, so that wraps up our Atlantic Division. Eric, give us your winner of the division.
I'm gonna rock with my guy Nick and go Toronto just because of the homie that's up there, crushing the league, doing gangster shit, and then obviously disappointing in the playoffs again. But I'll go with Toronto to win the Atlantic.
Eric loves Austin Matthews. That's
look, as somebody who
he's growing the Austin Matthews mustache.
Yeah, he's got it.
As somebody who doesn't watch hockey, there's a few players that when you watch them, like Makar, for you guys, it's like, holy fuck. Like, how does he move this fast on the ice? And and then he's scoring goals from the back and shit. Like, there's just certain guys that are cool. Austin Matthews is one of them. Yeah. And then obviously that fuck play from the Oilers. But yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's so funny, man. Leon Draisaitl on any other team would be a darling to NHL fans. On any other team, Leon Draisaitl would be a goddamn darling. But because McJesus is skating on the other side of that, man, we almost are just like, oh yeah, Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah, Leon Draisaitl exists, everybody, by the way.
By the way, it's okay to be his fan.
By the way, I think he gets 100 points as well, too.
Leon Draisaitl?
Yeah.
Didn't they both have 100?
No, that's what I'm saying. He gets 100 points as well. Like Connor McDavid's getting 100 points. Yeah, he had 128 points last year.
Of course, yeah. That's why I was like, yeah. That's why I was shocked that you had to say it. I was like, of course he is.
He scored 52 goals.
All right, he's so good. All right, Eric, give us your dark horse for the division, then we'll wrap up the podcast.
I don't know shit, so I'm gonna rock with you, Buffalo.
I love me some Buffalo. It might be a trendy pick though. That's the only fear I have with Buffalo. I think a lot of people are gonna be like, "Ooh, Buffalo," but I'll be one of those people. I got scolded for the Devils last year, so I'm rocking with how I feel when I'm looking into these divisions and stuff. So also, I'm not the biggest hockey expert, by the way. You know, you can tell by the pigmentation. But you guys got anything else for the 10s and 10s? Eric wasn't ready for that one.
No, enjoy spooky season.
Spooky season. Eric, you got anything?
No. See you guys next week.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Podcast Room303. I've been your host, Jermaine Cologne Mendez. This is my co-host, Nicholas Moorhan. And as always, we have with us the EPE. We'll see you next time when you come down and step into the room.